Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self-actualize. I blend the most avant-garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. Fucking is better than therapy. I would know. I've done a lot of both. You can save thousands of dollars and hours and work it out in bed instead. More effective, works faster, and much better fun. What is the purpose of therapy? To confront your demons, to heal, to be honest with yourself, to alchemize your wounds and past pain into wisdom and pleasure. Well, my orgasms do that. My cervical ones do anyway, and they have for years. And the fact that they do is why I do what I do. Everything I teach about sex and intimacy is guiding you to the place where you can be your own self-healer and master creator of your reality. And you can get there through your vagina, specifically through your vaginal and especially cervical orgasms. The pathway to reaching cervical orgasms demands that we open ruthlessly. You cannot fake it. We are called upon to reach deep inside, to bare ourselves, and to dive into the abyss. I know it's super trendy right now to journey with plant medicine. And look, whatevs. But however you want to slice it, you are still outsourcing your power to an external authority or substance, even though you could get there on your own if you did the work. Ram Dass even said, drugs show you the mountain, but you have to climb it yourself. No matter how much puking you do, that doesn't count as climbing the mountain, kids. Anyway, back to my vagina. All the power is in me and in you. The pathway to opening, surrendering, which really is the ultimate metaphysical, spiritual, and shamanic seeing God quest of all, is to get out of our own way, to let go of and dare to release the little self so that the divine may enter us. Divine cock, divine pussy, and divine love. Let all of it penetrate you and obliterate you. I'm telling you that you can get there, and you can get farther and deeper through your own sexual experiences. Not a single drop of plant medicine necessary. The journey to these deeper orgasms demands that we look in our dark corners and find the lies we've told ourselves, our stories, our justifications of victimhood and how this was done to us, and that we take full and radical responsibility for our own lives and healing. Then you will reach these places. If you build it, they will come. Like I always say, sexual energy is life force energy, the energy that creates new life. We can learn to tap into this power and use it consciously to build in our lives and to heal ourselves. I truly have worked through eons of stuff, and I mean eons, through my sexual experiences. It felt at times like I was accessing deep ancestral lineage trauma and expelling it out by having hours and hours of cervical orgasms. These kinds of orgasms, the kinds that change your life and rebirth you, are essential good fuck medicine for all women. Women often cry during these orgasms. Why? It's a release, a massive release. And they often don't know what the tears are for, and they don't have to know. All they have to do is open to that flow. The release is happening from a cellular level, purging the old and restoring the system like a computer reboot. Orgasm is actually a very deep autonomic nervous system reset. It resets your ANS better than anything. I had an integrative doctor friend years back who specialized in resetting the ANS. And he would say to me, I wish I could just tell everyone to go home and have orgasms like you do. It would make their healing go so much faster. Yep, it does. I would assert that the most powerful healing only happens in deep, connected, surrendered, open sex, whether you're having it with yourself or a partner. My big barometric question always is, does sex leave you feeling energized, rejuvenated, transformed, ecstatic, and like it changed your life? If not, you're doing it wrong. You can have sex in a way that depletes you or energizes you. I am all about getting high through sex. And if you are doing that, you are harnessing that super potent energy source that will enable you to do all kinds of things, from manifest a new job to a new partner and heal your body. This is exactly what Alexa did. She learned how to use this energy, consciously cultivating it so that it became a tangible source of power, creativity, and revitalization in her life. Her story is mind and body blowing, and you can hear the well-fucked radiance ooze from her voice. Hear all about how Alexa's vagina helped her to go from being $34,000 in debt to mega prosperity and a TV show in the works. Unleash her creativity. She picked up the songwriting and performing career she'd put on the back burner for years using my meditate, masturbate, create sequence. She lost 70 pounds in weight and emotional baggage. She moved from sexual shame and early childhood trauma to not giving a fuck with utter confidence. She healed her throat and vulva cysts. They totally disappeared. And she found God in her vagina. Where else do you find it? Well, maybe a few other places like up your ass. In Alexa's words, she says, I would say 100% that the course that I did with you recently and just your work in general was a catalyst for healing for me in all levels of my life. Well fucked all stars. Welcome, Alexa. So excited for you to be joining us.
Thank you, Kim, for having me. I'm really excited to get to talk to you.
All right, so let's hear where you came from and where you are now and all the transformation that happened in between.
So my journey, if you will, was it started probably a year ago with this work. I was in probably one of the lowest places in my life. COVID had happened. I had a newborn baby, and I was in a place financially in my career and my relationship that were just at a standstill or even at a negative, honestly. And I was doing this cord cutting meditation one night where I was releasing a lot of, past emotional things. And the next morning, not only did I feel lighter, but I was randomly on my phone, and I never listened to podcasts, but somehow your podcast ended up on my phone in my to watch list or to listen to list. And so I just went ahead and was like, I had an intuition to click on it. And everything that you spoke about so resonated with me on a core level that I immersed myself in your videos and your podcasts and anything I could devour online. I did. And I started applying all of the free content to my life. I even ordered a jade egg. And a side note, I will say the one from the salon is just exceptional, especially in comparison to the one I was using in the beginning.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, very good to hear, right? But as far as, where when COVID hit, for instance, I'm a musician and I was the songwriter growing up and all through my life. And that was just an absolute standstill for all of us as musicians. And then I was pregnant during COVID and I was literally almost $34,000 in debt before I began your work.
Wow.
And when I tell you that is completely healed, I could cry right now. It's been life-changing. And so throughout, this past year, I just began to apply the principles that you spoke on and to, it works if you do the work. And I just showed up every day and did the work. And it was amazing to me just how much I shifted in my own self and how much my relationships, not just my husband, but the other relationships in my life, it's like I grew a backbone, you know? And really though, like I didn't realize I had a boundary issue. I didn't realize I wasn't utilizing my voice.
Right.
And so much of my life just shifted because I shifted internally. And I would say 100% that the course that I did with you recently and just your work in general, it was a catalyst for healing for me in all levels of my life.
That's amazing. And so why don't you, when you say you showed up and did the work, like what did that look like for you, the work?
So for me, I just applied everything that you had mentioned doing, from self-pleasuring every day to the jade egg work to breast massage to yoni massage to really just like going through it rather than avoiding it as far as the emotions that were coming up and the things that were previous blocks. And I began to really filter my life of all dishonesty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was a podcast I listened to that you had done about the power of truth and speaking your truth. And I didn't realize that by not lying, you know, I never lied necessarily, and I never did anything dishonest, but by not sharing my true like passions or my true wants or my true needs with not only my husband, but my family members and friends, and just even in work life, like I wasn't showing up as myself. I was being a version of myself I thought people really wanted from me because it was a role I was so used to playing. And I really, you know, came out of that role and discovered who I am as myself.
That's so beautiful. And I love what you said about doing these practices, but then you also mentioned the emotional work. And I love what you said about the dishonesty, because that in some ways is really the crux of everything, right? Like if you can identify your truth and then speak your truth, and also what you said about boundaries is a huge one, then you're putting, you know, that creative power out into the world to make your universe a reflection of your inner self. And if you can't get to that place of expressing it or articulating it or even knowing what it is, then our lives are not an expression of our truth.
100%. And, you know, I will say, you know, having like a sex date with myself or having these times where it was just utilizing self-pleasure and exploring my own sexuality, it was, in a sense, what kind of brought me face to face with the things I had to unearth that I had not dealt with. Like, for instance, I realized that I had so many, you know, little traumas or things that had happened that just pile on, and individually you can deal with them. But when they're layered on layered on layered upon themselves, they become this huge block and this wall to really expressing, you know, creativity, your joy even. And it sucks sometimes to cry, but now I really fucking enjoy a good cry because I know it's releasing. I know that it's healing. You know, I used to avoid negative emotion rather than releasing it. And now it does feel pretty fucking good to cry.
So how would you relate this journey and the unearthing of these things to your sexual exploration? So did you just find that in revving up this sexual energy that may have been laying dormant in some fashion, that it was helping to catalyze these things and bring them to the surface?
Oh,
like
100%. 100%. And it was also this aha for me because I was really sexually explorative at like a young age, for instance. And I also, when I was younger, I wrote my first song when I was 8 years old, and it went on to be a platinum hit in Brazil. And I had, you know, I was a multi-platinum songwriter, had a few number ones by the time I was 13, and I had tied with Michael Jackson as the youngest, you know, songwriter to be with a publishing company. And I look back and I'm like, oh my God, like that was a huge part in that. And all of this stuff happened. Like I was a really gifted, if you will, like kid. And I can like now look back and see the connection because, you know, like even something as simple as playing doctor with the neighborhood boys and like those sort of things. It's amazing how by tuning in and tapping into that at a young age and being so curious, it opened up my world to creativity, and creativity just funneled through me. Now I grew up in Utah, And as I got older, I mean, oh my God, the shame around sex was just insurmountable. Like, and I shut down totally. And I honestly had so many even female issues. Like I didn't even get a period till I was 20 years old because I had
Whoa.
so much blocked stuff. And doing this work and going back and healing those things that I didn't even know were things that had happened, it's just amazing how the act of tapping into my essence of sexuality and recognizing that that's the same energy as creative energy. That's life force creation. That's literally what beats our heart and births babies, you know? And, and it's just been amazing to empower myself in that sense. And really, now I'm at a point where I beat the drum of this all day long. I mean, all my family members know, all my friends know, it's something I am just like, everyone needs to do this, to utilize the power of their own bodies, of their own gifts they've been given that are inherent.
That's amazing. I love all of that, and you say it so well.
Oh, thank you.
So, so what were some of the specific areas where you noticed shifts happen in your life, like from your body to your health to your marriage to you mentioned the debt that you wiped out. Like, can you walk us
Oh
through
yeah.
some of those changes?
For sure. Yeah, I'll start with my body. Having had in my past, I had an eating disorder, and getting pregnant for me it was tough in a way because it was a lot of the body stuff coming back. And when I tell you I gained like 90 pounds, I am not kidding. And after I gave birth, I was breastfeeding, I was doing all these things. I couldn't get it off. Like it was just stuck. And I realized, through doing your course, it was like, wow, these tears that had dried that I never expressed were just stuffed into my tissues. And I loved how
Right.
you said your issues are in your tissues. And so as I began to really go within, quote unquote, through self pleasure and to let myself journal or write or do these things afterwards and really tune into that, the weight started just falling off. I have lost now nearly 70 pounds. And during the course, I lost about 18. Because I had started your work about a year ago. And it was just incredible for me. And not only that, when I actually when I did the salon, doing the yoni massage, doing the meditations, doing the, I believe you have a clearing of growths meditation.
Yeah.
And I was doing that constantly. And I was doing the yoni practices. And I noticed that I had this Barthonian, I think I'm pronouncing it right, but it's called like a Barthonian cyst. And during my pregnancy, I had discovered that I had cysts on my throat, and they were constantly looking at them, screening and making sure it wasn't affecting my thyroid levels because I was pregnant. So that's the only reason I knew about them. And I had such a decrease in the beginning of the salon in the Barthonian cyst. And it was curious to me that when I had gone back after the salon was done, and I think I sent you guys an email like the day I found out, but I had gone back to my endocrinologist and done an ultrasound on my throat and found out that not only was my Barthonian cyst down and like completely gone by the time I had done this ultrasound, but my throat was totally healed. And that's where it was eye-opening to me, because I had brought that up when we did the connection with all the women in the course. And one of the people had said that there was like this throat to vagina connection. And I was astounded when I saw what vocal cords looked like, for instance. Just I mean, it floored me. I was losing it laughing because it was like, of course, this is all connected. Of course, by, going within, I'm like being able to express myself. And these are total, like, by utilizing what generates this creativity and utilizing what expresses the creativity via like the vagina and the throat, right? No wonder. It was just like this aha to me, but it was so funny. I mean, I laughed my ass off just after the whole thing, because it's like, wow, not only do we have the capability of healing these things, but our bodies are messengers and they're speaking to us constantly. And these were telling me that I had blockages. I had emotional blockages. And as I did the work, they cleared.
And you mentioned earlier about your voice and speaking your truth and setting boundaries and all that throat stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Despite the irony of you being a singer, or a
Right.
songwriter, singer, you know, and then, but there's still like another level for you to go in that expression.
Oh, 100%. And that was one of the things I really loved. I began to adopt your philosophy of meditate, masturbate, create.
Right.
And I would apply that. And I did that like honestly every day. And not only was I just kind of followed your lead as far as how you said you would just go to your computer and just write. Well, I didn't know what to do afterwards. So at first I started coloring mandalas just to be like, okay, I'm going to choose something to be creative in. And then I was urged to start writing in a journal. And that led me back to songwriting, which I had throughout, a lot of like disappointments and things in my career had really shut down. And it was amazing to reconnect with that space within myself. And that whole that creation that you have for the 3-step process. I mean, wow. Like I use it every day still. It works.
That's amazing.
And I will say chanting hue is great because I learned a lot about vocal toning through this whole thing. And that's a principle that a lot of, vocal toning teachers use. And I feel like it strengthened my voice, and it's something I now do before I go and perform live. Which is great because, oh my God, I'm performing live again. I haven't done that in 3 years, so it's amazing.
That's incredible. So, how did the shift happen in your work and finances then? Was that through you getting back into performing? Like, how did you find that manifested in your work and the cash flow?
Yeah. Yeah. I would honestly say that it not only opened a part of me that was creative to where I was creating again, and that was generating in and of itself opportunities and just interest from my end as to, oh, I'm going to put this out, or, oh, I'm going to reach out to this person, or, oh, I'm going to, go for this and this and this. But actually during my one of my meditations, I had received this idea a while ago and I had never acted on it. And it was this concept for a TV show. And I am happy to say that now, after utilizing these practices every day, it kind of gave me this faith, courage, and eagerness and inspiration to just fucking do it. And now I have a full-blown TV show where we are in the pre-production phase. I have a production company and we are going to networks in about 4 weeks for the pitching process, but we are filming the sizzle reel, and I have some of the biggest songwriters signed on to it, as well as some of the biggest artists. And I can't necessarily, because it's all under NDAs right now, I can't give away the whole premise of it, but for the last 6 months, it's just been taking off like on a whole other level that I never expected. And it really came through because every day I would do this practice and I would meditate on it, and then I would self-pleasure, and then I would act on it. And I had the courage and the inspiration combined, which was something I was missing for so long because of how much I had blocked within me.
Alexa, you're blowing me away right now. This is all just so
isn't it
fantastic.
wild? It's wild.
Yeah.
It is wild. It's like my voice opened up to be able to speak to the universe again, if that makes sense. Like to be able to place orders, to be able to just communicate, not only with my own heart, but with whatever people consider to be God or love or the universe or Allah, whatever you call that life force energy. I used to feel at a young age, I had this strong connection with myself and with life at large. And through doing this work, I've reconnected with that. And it's like, it brings me to tears. I'm just still so grateful for you and for this work.
So what you're saying essentially is you found God again through your vagina.
100%. 100%. And it's even made me ask the question, well, who's God's mom? Because, if all life is formed through a certain capacity of, the female or the feminine, it's really shifted not only my perspective on things, but reconnected me with that essence of how it feels to feel held by the universe and supported in what I'm doing,
Yeah, absolutely. Like making love with and to the universe.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. So what of your, in relation to your sexuality and your lubrication, your vaginal power, your marriage, what would you say about all that?
I would just say that, honestly, ever since obviously the jade egg work and what it brought up for me, and like being able to cry emotionally, I was then able to lubricate. And now it's like, it's interconnected and it's just like constant. I don't feel like I did before, where I was, some like an old lady just shriveling. Now it's like the sense of, I feel excited about life, and my body tells me that I'm on point with that, because even if I don't recognize it emotionally right away, my panties will say it. You know what I mean? So
Yes. The
yeah,
vagina talks.
totally. I would say that, I recognize that my marriage at first is kind of like this mirror, like, of me, and who I was showing up being in my marriage was reflected in my husband. And by doing this work, not only was I reconnecting with the playful, the silly, all these things, I feel like I became more attractive to my husband, as well as more brave and bold in saying these things that I needed, or talking about things that we had really swept under a rug. And that we had, there wasn't necessarily any like deceit or any of these big things like that, but it becomes layered deceit when you stop living in full honesty, because you fall into patterns, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And it just fucking shook our relationship and woke us up. And I mean, like, for instance, we've never done like getaways, or like, time to just us. And I'm so excited because now in August, like, his mom's flying in and watching our daughter for a few weeks, and he and I are just going to take off to a cabin in the mountains and follow suit from, from some of your other podcasts.
With
And
this epic
it's
sex
been great
weekend.
because when,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes, I can't wait. And I would just say that, God, we were in a rough place, and doing this work, I first took the approach of, I'm doing it myself, and took the approach of almost like a single woman, because I didn't want to feel like I could only change if I could have him change with me, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted this regardless. And I had to have the faith that by me shifting and healing and opening myself to these different aspects of my sexuality and all the things that births within me, I had to just trust that either he was going to follow suit and we were going to grow together, or I had to be okay with, walking away if it didn't happen. And I think that's the scariest part for a lot of people, I'm assuming, when you start this work, because you recognize, holy fuck, like, I am this sentient being, as you put it, and I have power within me, and I have desire and passion and all these things. And if I unload that, like, what does that do to my life? And what does that do to the people around me? And how can I maintain these relationships when I've lived so small within them? And that was a scary question to ask myself. And then I just realized, you know what, if love is truly unconditional love, I'll be loved through it. And if I can't be loved through it from someone else, I'm going to love myself through it. And by loving myself through it, it was amazing, because it was an invitation in a way for him to get to know me on deeper levels, and for me to know him as well. And we had listened to, podcasts of yours together, and applied certain things together. And we have so many stairs to climb, if you will, so many new places to experience together. And that's the exciting part. And rather than looking at a challenge like I had in the past as just a roadblock, it's now an opportunity to go deeper, as you say.
Go deeper, go home. Go deep and
Yep.
go home. Come home. That's also epic. I'm just so proud of you and your full dedication. Like, the way you say you committed to these practices every day, and the meditate, masturbate, create every day. And just, like you said, sat down at your computer, sat down, or you just started coloring in mandalas, right? To just be like, okay, I'm going to do something that's creative to channel this energy and to get into that groove, right? That pattern, that energetic pattern of, that's what I tell people, is just go do something, right? Just do something, and know that now you're taking that energy and you're funneling it into whatever it is that you're doing.
100%. I mean, even the simple things like organizing or cleaning up my house or whatnot. I mean,
Mm.
it's almost like I have this amassment of creative energy that now I'm songwriting again. I'm painting again. My marriage is in a good place. My career is taking off. I'm in TV. I'm doing performing again. And fuck, I even started like a blog. Like I have so much, it's outpouring that. And then even with organizing my home, like I started off saying, like now I'm super into like feng shui and like design. I'm like, wow, it doesn't end. And
Yeah.
it's exhilarating. And the word I'd use is I feel intrigued by life again. And I feel just this insatiable excitement. And it's not all the time. It's not like, oh my God, I'm living on this manic high or anything like that. It's a calm presence of myself in my own energetic space. And it's just like me listening to intuition, if you will, and just this eagerness to explore what is calling me and to express myself through that. So it's been awesome.
The way you describe it is this beautiful reconnection with that life force energy. Like, one of the biggest messages, as you know, I try to communicate to people is that our sexual energy is life force energy. And if you remove
Yes.
all of the religious and moral and taboo obscuring that is superimposed on top of it, it's just a life force energy. And so if we're connected to it, we're revving it up, we're inhabiting that energy, then the result is we're going to see this enlivening in everything that we do, right? And this deeper connection to life itself. And everything that you're saying
Right.
so reinforces that.
Right. I'm getting more and more to that place of not giving a fuck, but I'd say I'm pretty far into that. I mean, I have now had purple hair for a year and I feel great about it in any corporate situation or any kind of anything. I just feel like you said, I am reconnecting and supported by that higher benevolent present that is everywhere. It is life. It is the heartbeat of life, and it is life force, creative, sexual energy. And it's just, I feel like I'm still in a sense scratching the surface of it because, like I said, it's only been 1 year. And in the beginning, utilizing like say the jade egg and these different techniques, I likened it to learning piano, to where you have this music inside of you that you so long to express, and you feel like you're stuck at times because you have this inner song that you want to sing or just play. And in the beginning, you're just learning what the notes are. You're just familiarizing your fingers with the keys. You're just discovering how to play chords, how to connect chords, how to really establish that mind muscle memory, and how to do the smaller things with music. That's how I felt with the jade egg. At first it was just like, oh, I want to play this music, or I want to have these orgasms, or I want to have this grand thing. But you've got to start, like, in a sense, with learning the keys, learning your body, learning yourself, and relearning yourself. Because oh my God, just the years and the layers of the numbness, of the checking out, of the disassociation, of the leaving your body. I feel like even with that being said, there's so much I healed from even having an eating disorder in the past, which I didn't even recognize at the time, probably was emerging for me when I was young because of covering up sexual shame and things of that nature, and needing a sense of control over my life because I was just in a place that I was too young to understand, and I was just pressing and shoving it down. And this has really healed a lot of that. And the jade egg work has been amazing. It was slow in the beginning, just like learning piano. And it's like pretty soon, I can't say I play a full blown, Beethoven
Symphony.
piece, but
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, a symphony or whatever, but I am getting there. And I now am in a place of just loving the work of it because I recognize the connection with the results.
That's all so amazing. I love the way you describe all of those things and really the ownership that you take, right? And you can feel through hearing your voice the joy and happiness of the process, like you just said. So it's not
Yes.
And the proof is in the pudding. Like, all you need to do is commit, and soon that it all takes on a life of its own, because the body and the brain get all of this positive reinforcement that this feels good. And then your life starts to give that reinforcement back to you when opportunities start coming to you and things start to change without you having to try hard to change them. The real work is being done on yourself, in your body, in your sexuality, looking, as you say, at these things that come to the surface, this emotional work, and then that translates into these outer events totally changing themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And it's also brought up, I would say, certain reactions to me, both, I'd say really positive, and even the quote unquote negative, I look at as a positive, because it's a confirmation that something's changing within me. For instance, I'm not going to name names or mention exactly who in my family these people were, but being from Utah, having very tight lid on sexuality and what other people think and how we dress, or how, the color of my hair, for instance, just being out there sexually. I've had a lot of, at least 4 sit down conversations, and I just, rather than having this cowering feeling that I might have had a few years ago, like I said, I have a backbone now. And I was just like, thanks for your feedback. I'm going to give you some feedback. Go fuck yourself. And I mean that in the nicest way possible, because truthfully, you really need to be enlightened. So when I say go fuck yourself, I mean, go get enlightened, So anyways.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, wow.
So I realize now, rather than that being such a dig or such an unfriendly term, I mean, go fuck yourself is kind of one of the nicest things we can bless someone with, is
right?
Because
here's the answer.
Then they can go find enlightenment.
I'm going to give you a shortcut to fix your whole life. This is it.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Is there anything, you've covered a lot, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Let's see. Is there anything else I'd like to add? I would say I'm very excited because I have a daughter, and I think that it's given me a new perspective on how I want her to grow up owning and her sexuality and loving herself, and really never losing touch with that, honestly. And because at the heart of it, it's really innocence. It's innocence, and it's who we are. I mean, I just look at how she already loves her body and is so content with her body and all these things. And I just feel like this is really saved in me, this recognition that I can save her and save a piece of that in her always by not having the shame that I passed down, by working through my shit now, so it doesn't go on to the next generation. And I'm excited for that, and that's another aspect of it is it gives me, I feel more energized being a parent, for one. And I just feel this sense of hope now for my own daughter, for her growing up differently than I did. And that's exciting to me.
That's beautiful, because that's one of the big ways that we do it. We do our own work, and through osmosis, through that ancestral lineage, energetically, we then, we pass on something different to them. Like, they absorb something different, because they absorb our unresolved traumas, and they absorb our power and strengths as well. And so the more that we can give them versus the more stuff we haven't dealt with, then the better.
Oh, 100%. And I think it also, I remember listening to one of your podcasts where you talked about when you heal yourself, in a way, it also kind of goes up the chain that's been passed down, and it kind of heals all the way through ancestral lineage. And I'm finding that with my own family, honestly. And it's kind of amazing. It's that same principle with forgiveness, that when one forgives, the whole situation is blessed. And that's kind of how I feel by doing this work. It's like, in the past, my own family, I know of, sexual rapes or just things that were just so taboo or kept secret, or just people in such shame. And that shame causes growth. And I'm fortunate mine were just cysts, but in other people's, it can show up as cancer. It can show up as other things that are really on a different scale. And I feel like by doing this work and utilizing this sexual energy, that it really heals at large. And that's, it's such a blessing. And I just have to say, before we wrap up, I am just so grateful to you, because I am just amazed at the incredible courage you've had to share your own story and to just not tolerate this not being out there, because this is the truest work there is. This is who we are. And also your course, it's just beautiful. All the videos are so vibrant, and the energy of all of them are just, I was engaged the whole time. And this sense of hope I felt always, even if I got to a place where I felt like I hit a wall or, maybe I'm not doing this right, or this isn't working. I just felt so drawn to not only just the presentation of how you did the entire salon, but just your embodiment of it. And I've loved, being able to share all this stuff with my girlfriends and everything like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if your next enrollment, I have quite a few family members or friends in that. So yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. I look forward to meeting them.
Oh yeah, they're a trip, so you'll enjoy it. And they'll enjoy you. And yeah, already, I mean, you just have I love your sense of humor and how funny you are and how just on point you are. It's like you're saying things we all know. So it's great. And I just want to say thank you.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear, Alexa, and thank you for sharing all of this. These all-stars are intended to be beacons of hope, just like these beacons of hope for people to realize that no matter where they are, these things are available to everyone. So thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Oh, of course. I'm honored. Again, I'm honored. So thanks for having me.
The Well Fucked Woman Salon is open for registration now. The doors shut on July the 8th. In my 8-week online program on how to live, love, and orgasm in a female body, you will learn how exactly to use your sexual energy as a creative power source to manifest whatever you want in your life, like Alexa did. Self-Pleasuring 101, my Orgasmopedia of all the different vaginal orgasms and how to get there, G-spot, cervical, and squirting. Breast massage to tone, lift, and enlarge the breasts. Cock whispering secrets from yours truly, the Cock Witch. Accessing your divine feminine to magnetize opportunities and abundance to you rather than having to slog it out to get things done, and much, much more. The salon only runs once a year and then it's gone until next summer. Each week you receive new video content, and then we follow up in a few days with a live Q&A call. The call times are varied to accommodate worldwide time zones, and if you can't make a call, you can always pre-submit questions ahead of time to be answered, and there will be a recording you can listen to shortly after. You'll receive access to my private Anami Inner Circle forum, and we have weekly community breakout calls where you can interact with other salon attendees. This is the only place where I engage and do any kind of coaching, because I don't do private work any longer, is in these Q&A calls within my salons. See you inside. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, subscribe and also leave a review. And send someone else the gift of a healthy libido and an off-the-charts love life by sharing this episode with them. We'll be back next week, and in the meantime, many happy orgasms.